All right, welcome everybody. Here with another episode of the Antonius DaGamer panel. I guess I don't have a name for it yet.
Mhm.
Once again, joined by my friend Tim. Um, Tim, so we're here to talk about Mortal Kombat 11 today.
All
Uh,
right, all right.
they recently, NetherRealm Studios recently announced essentially their season two expansion package this past week. Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath.
Mhm.
And let's just start. How do you feel about Mortal Kombat 11 as a whole so far? Like the release.
Um, the release was very nostalgic.
Hmm.
They brought in the original soundtrack, they remixed it, and of course, they brought in a signature actor from the first one.
Hmm.
I felt like they really hit on the nostalgic realm of things, but however, story-wise, I feel like it didn't really deliver,
Okay.
and I kind of feel like that's what this DLC is all about.
Okay. And do you just briefly touch on why you feel like it didn't deliver?
All right, from my personal conversations in the past, I felt like Mortal Kombat 9 was it was a beautiful game. It was a beautiful reboot. It literally had everybody that you cared about, so to speak. Like, it literally had everybody. Even when they announced the DLC package, they had Scarlet, they had Kenshi, they had Rain, and of course, that's when they started to get more into the guest characters with Kruger. But it's like that roster alone was just enough for like so many people.
Right.
And then when they transferred over to Mortal Kombat X and when they did the whole comic series, I just kind of felt like they were doing too much and they didn't realize how much they were actually doing because yeah, it continued the story. They did a time skip and all of that other stuff. But then the thing is they got rid of so many characters. Like you had this big old battle with the Chaos Realm, the Red
Mm.
Dragons, the Black Dragons, and it's like this person dead, that person's dead, and then by the time Mortal Kombat X the game came out, it's kind of like, whoa, wait, where are the rest? Where's everybody else from the last installment?
Right.
They're NPCs.
Yeah. Right. So like going off of what you said, I kind of feel like the transition from 9 to X to 11, um, or I should say from 9 to X was overly ambitious, right? Where it's like, the Injustice comic had done really well for them for Injustice 1. And,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, let's do the same thing in Mortal Kombat, let's expand the lore of the world and kind of get more into detail story wise. But then you have people who are, I don't even want to say like, yeah, let's just say like the gaming community versus the comic community. Like those two don't go hand in hand. Like just because I choose to play Mortal Kombat the game doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to read the Mortal Kombat tie-in comic book.
Mm-hmm.
So going like of what you said for me, it's like the like adjustment of 9 to 10, where it's like, yep, there's this time skip, and 9 was kind of like this beautiful, like you said, like this compilation of like the original trilogy. You had all the characters that you essentially want in a Mortal Kombat soft reboot, and now they're all gone. The original cast is old. Certain key characters you might have enjoyed are dead, and you have this new cast of the combat kids, and you're just like, I don't even like half these people. Who are these people? And I think 11 in a lot of ways was like a retcon for them, where it's like, oh, we messed up. We realized we were killing off a lot of characters that people really cared about. Let's do the timeline thing again, where they come back from the past and we can kind of reintroduce these classics. And for that part, I guess like I'm a little grateful, I guess. Like I feel like they did a good job of, like you said, like branching the past with the present. It's a beautiful looking game. The mechanics are really cool. But I feel like the game as a whole, it's like essentially we're starting from scratch again. Like
Mm-hmm.
one sequel in from the reboot. It's like we rebooted, started the storyline, and now it's like, nope, this storyline is not getting a reboot as well. And it's just been kind of, I feel like I know we've had conversations off camera of like just like how the hype around 11 doesn't seem the same, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that plays a part in it where it's like it's the Street Fighter conversation all over again. It's like why why is Shang Tsung DLC in this game? Why is Sindel DLC in this game? Why are they not in the base roster?
Mm-hmm.
I think going into Aftermath, like you said, it's like I think it's a way to kind of fix at least some of those things. Um, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't know how. confident I am, even with the story fixes, even with the characters they're gonna add, of like, is this the right format to have Mortal Kombat last long term? So like, what do you feel like Aftermath would need to do in order to, I guess, like respark that interest?
Well, they were off to a good start. They're giving us three stages.
Mm,
They're giving us three stages. They're giving us three characters. Two of them I've been looking forward to. The third guest character, I got to see more gameplay on that one. I'm not too, and I just kind of feel like, well, bro, there's so many other characters that you could have just brought into. And
mm,
my thing is like, what is going to make this game a complete package? Because there's a lot of people who are asking for like Rain, of
mm,
course, the signature cyborgs because they were actually in the story mode.
mm.
But then my thing is, people are tired of this whole NPC route with classic characters. It's like, no, I
Right.
want to play with my character. Like, you already made me buy them the last installment. Are you really gonna make me buy them again? And then they're like, no, 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 no character will be DLC twice. I was like, well, so you doing these characters for the free?
Or just not doing them at all.
And because last time I checked, like in Mortal Kombat X, you already had the base model of them, and you turned one into an actual DLC character.
Mm.
Well, actually, no, two. Yeah, it was Tanya and Sindel.
But they didn't. Well, they didn't make Sindel DLC in X though. She was
Yeah, they waited to another installment later to turn her into a full-fledged character.
yeah.
And this area of NPCs and turning classic characters into like a DLC ploy, I don't like it. I don't like it because one of these days you're gonna be paying for Scorpion.
Well, the thing what I think about that, like, I think it's not a terrible idea, right? Because, say for example, like Cyrax and Sector, right? You know, their popularity in the Mortal Kombat universe, at least from what I understand, our fandom is mixed, right? Where it's like they're appreciated, they're enjoyed, people like when they're in there, but they're not necessarily a fan favorite. So I feel like sometimes going the NPC route, where it's like we'll make the model, we'll kind of give them some moves, and kind of gauge how people are feeling about having those characters reintroduced to the game. Because
Mm.
there are certain characters where it's like, yeah, Tanya was made DLC, but I could have done without her personally. Like if she had stayed NPC, I wouldn't have been mad about it. I would have definitely taken Cynthia over.
She actually was a very good character. I actually played with her a lot.
Mm,
Tremor as well. And then, like I said, it was like those characters that you have barely seen in the
mm,
actual like story mode after certain installments. Yes, I prefer like those characters could be DLC. Cool.
right, right,
But it's like no, like this whole Nightwolf Sindel and Shang Tsung, I like no. Bro, like how is that even why is that even a concept now these
right.
days? Mm.
Is there any characters that let's just assume that Mortal Kombat's going for 3 seasons. That seems to be the new wave in
Mhm.
fighters. Are there any characters that you feel need to kind of make this particular wave of season 2?
Um well we got Shira, we got RoboCop, and we got Fujin finally after 14 years. After 14 years, another Elder God character.
Mhm.
Well, outside of Cetrion, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I definitely want Striker back, bro. Like Striker is like a very forgotten character now.
Mm,
Striker's forgotten, and then I do feel like since he died, the demon took over his body, so
mm,
he's now known as Inenra. I mean, if you want to play down that route, all right, give him different moves.
right, right.
You give him different moves to make him like, yeah, similar to how he played as Smoke and MK9, but give him something entirely different. And it's like the fact that it's like, all right, now we got all the Revenant characters back -2. It's kind of like, all right, bro, you was this close to giving us the full set back. Like, come on, just give us the rest because you finally gave us Jade and Cabal back.
True.
And I actually
Um,
like Jade's new style as of now.
yeah, I think they
I
did a really good job revitalizing her as a character. Um,
Mhm.
For me, I mean, because I don't know as much about the Mortal Kombat like roster history. I know, like from what I've seen online, people have been saying how for whatever reason, NetherRealm has been like avoiding getting into more like Deadly Alliance and Armageddon introduced characters. So I would be kind of interested to see some of those kind of make a return since they haven't really done
Well,
anything
they
with
killed.
them
Well,
since
they
those
killed
games.
some. Well, they killed some of them off in the MKX comics. So
Oh,
it's
well,
like
that's trash.
you killed most of them. So,
Mhm.
and there was only really one major villain around that time, but then like the Dragon Onaga. But I don't feel like they're gonna go that far.
I mean, I don't know. I think for me, like, I just don't. It's hard for me to make a prediction because I don't really know what to predict with them. Like, so X kind of gave you this idea that like Shinnok, for example, was around for the long haul. Despite being defeated at the end of X, like he's still just kind of there. And then come 11 is like there's no active plans to bring him back. Quan Chi's nowhere to be found. Uh,
He's dead.
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's like you go from 9, where 9 has all these characters. You have X that still has certain characters. And it's like there's these characters who died off screen, more or less. Then you
Mm-hmm.
introduce these new characters, and then you kind of find out between X and 11 that some of them have died as well. Correct. It wasn't like didn't like Ferritor get killed off screen?
Yeah, apparently
Right.
between like, time
And,
skip and 11,
yeah, they
yes.
only been in one game. There's only one game and they're already dead. Or it's like there's like a rumor that Takeda might be coming back at some point as DLC. And it's like, why didn't you just put him in the game? Why is he now paid content? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I don't know. Like I know I asked you the question, but like for me, like it's hard to say that there's any hype for me personally. I'm like I just don't know what they're doing. You know, um, we had a conversation again off camera where like I feel like they've kind of made Mortal Kombat their flagship series to like take the reigning crown in terms of guest characters. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like they're now using DLC as like, look, we run whatever franchise you thought that had really good guest characters, we got them beat. We got all the licenses. Like I think RoboCop is essentially just a flex. Like yeah, we got RoboCop now. What else?
Mm-hmm.
Like if that's the case, I would love to see Pennywise from It make it in as DLC.
Well, to be honest, I don't feel like they're. I realized the first two games from
Mm,
9 and X, they were definitely doing more of the horror stream characters because X had Freddy Krueger, 9 had Freddy Krueger,
mm,
X had Jason, it had
and Leatherface.
Leatherface, and then
Yeah.
it had then they transferred over to sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
and they had Predator, they had Alien, which is like sci-fi horror in a sense. But then this one, I feel like it's more like action hero type feel.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you got RoboCop, you got
Mm.
Spawn, and then you also have the Terminator, and then of course they have to have the whole Injustice link with the Joker,
Right.
which
But
is the best Joker that we've gotten so far.
right, but it's like they've done the Joker 4 different times now, so I would hope that like when you've done 4 different versions of the character, that you would get it, you perfect it. Um, that does remind me of a question I wanted to ask. Do you feel at some point that further sequels of Mortal Kombat need to just use maybe 11 as like a template for future games? Like one of the things that again we had talked about off camera was I feel like with every new game in Mortal Kombat, they want to revitalize the combat system so much that we end up getting the same characters from scratch. So it's like, sure, this is like the best Liu Kang we've ever had, but I think about the development time that's been taken completely essentially scrapping Liu Kang from X and making a Liu Kang for 11. And I kind of wonder at what point do you maybe take the Tekken approach where you tweak a few things, but essentially they're the same character. Do you feel like 11 serves as like a good springboard for whatever might going forward into 12?
Um, to be honest, I don't even think we're going to get a 12.
Really?
I do feel like, especially, I do feel like a lot of certain like fighters or just like fighting game companies are starting to like move over to new IPs.
Hmm.
I do feel like you've really just beaten Mortal Kombat up to the point where it's like you don't even know what you want to do with it anymore.
Right, right, right.
And this whole mixing with time thing, maybe Aftermath will be the closure that we need. And then, of course, to close, season 3 off, maybe they'll probably just give us some characters for free just to fill in certain gaps.
Hmm.
I mean, that's really all that you really could do at this point. because it's like, all right, so you're gonna do this whole time thing again, or whatever Shang Tsung is really up to. But it's like, okay, once we figure out how the story ends, where do we go from here? So I really won't know where the story goes until like after Aftermath comes out.
Mm,
But Mortal Kombat 12, I just don't really see it likely because, bro, that's a long franchise to really have to keep going up to that
right.
limit.
Do you feel like then that 11 has the potential to be the send off package for the franchise? Or is it kind of going out on the less desired
Um, I feel like it will, and then you know what? In previous to our last conversation, I feel like they'll finish this off
note? Mm,
and make a PS5 crossover version like how they did for Injustice,
mm,
the first one. I see it doing that because all right, you know, the next one will be the third Injustice, of course, to finish off that trilogy,
mm,
so to speak. Which after this last Flashpoint movie, I kind of figure out how everything is gonna go.
mm,
But yeah, like I do feel like it's time for NetherRealm to really move on to something else.
mm,
Um, I mean, I would like for them to go like deeper into DC because you know that is a very beautiful franchise. But I do feel like maybe they should probably just pick like another series, like get the license for it, and then just work with it. I would say Marvel, but then the way how Disney acting these days,
mm.
I wouldn't do it, especially
Right,
after the whole Marvel versus Capcom Infinite.
right. We can't even get a good NBC game anymore. So it's
Mhm.
I doubt Disney will let NetherRealm do what they really want to do with Marvel.
Yeah,
I
there's
also don't feel like
there's other
their
series out
combat
there. That,
system fits Marvel characters as well as DC characters. I know that sounds weird, but I don't think it works as well. Like I kind of find that their fighting systems in both games tend to be very grounded.
hmm
And it's like, yeah, that might work when you know the only characters that really are flying are like Superman, Supergirl, um, Starfire. But what happens when you have Iron Man, Doctor Strange? Like, you have a rotating list of characters who essentially are never on the ground, and now you have to make them into like a 2D esque fighter.
mm I mean, just never, you never really will know. Because to be honest, like the only real company that I know who's jumping from like genre to genre, of course, is Arc System Works.
They
So
might. I feel like, and this is kind of going off the Mortal Kombat topic, so I won't go into much of a tangent. But it kind of feels like Arc Systems is becoming the underdog of the fighting genre. You know, it
mhm,
kind of feels like they're kind of strategically placing themselves within key franchises. You know, like they run the anime fighters right now, and I think they're gonna kind of sneak their way into like bigger and bigger licenses. You know, because there is like a sparser roster, but like definitely a lot more attention to detail. You know, like I wouldn't picture Arxis kind of making such a huge jump from MK9 to MK10, where you went from having tag team combat and babalities and friendships to like I haven't seen tag team combat since nine. You know, and like we're just now getting friendships back, and
mhm,
it's like where's the consistency? You
mhm.
know, so I think that kind of getting back on topic, I think that's the thing that has me just a little skeptical about this Aftermath DLC. Like, what are they really going to do other than reintroduce old game mechanics that
Yeah,
they shouldn't have taken out in the first place?
yeah, they shouldn't. And then even I kind of felt like it wasn't really a complete package because maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's also probably why it was dropped from Evo so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. Like when I saw the full roster of that came out, I was like, "Yo, no Mortal Kombat 11." And I get it. Like most of these companies are starting to do their own tournaments now, but
Mm-hmm.
Evo, which is basically like the Super Bowl of them all,
Right.
like,
Doesn't even acknowledge it for this coming year.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, but does that make you? Do you think that has to do more with the fan reception to MK11? Do you feel like maybe the powers that be that decide what makes Evo felt like MK11 was a subpar offering for the competitive market?
yeah, I
Mm,
feel like it was because of the fans. Yeah, because when you look at it, everybody was looking forward to the story because they had this whole time goddess, and then they had all the like the younger versions of the characters. Like that was cool and all, but
mm,
when you really look at it as a package, as a trilogy, I'm like, yo, the story was very hollow. They just keep pump faking back and forth. and it's kind of like, all right, this character could be in this game, but then taking out the next one, and then they try to resell it to me. It's kind of like you get
Yeah.
fed up after a while.
Right.
Because the fact that especially with Shang Tsung's like moveset, I was very disappointed that you mean to tell me that some of the ninjas are part of his, like the colored ninjas are part of his moveset.
Hmm.
Smoke, Reptile. I mean technically he is like an Ermac character already.
Right. Right. Right.
The power of souls. So I wouldn't mind if those characters had like fused together to become
Hmm.
a little new entity, because
Hmm.
that in a sense that kind of does make sense.
Right.
But the fact that he gave him Rain slow off-screen kick, it's like, no, bro, I wanted Rain as a character, as a full
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could just be because like I'm just a little more tired today, but I'm like it just seems harder to have a more clear. I feel less confident in the middle of this conversation about the future of Mortal Kombat than I did maybe going into the conversation. Because the more I think about it, I'm like, I really don't know what they're doing. And Aftermath is a flip of a coin, like again, I'm sure there's going to be another guest character that's going to be amazing. Right now, the rumor is they're going to put in Bruce Campbell's character Ash from the walk from uh,
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that would be fine. That would be kind of cool. But it's just like, well, what else? Like unless you're somebody who was born in the late '80s, early '90s, how
Mhm.
does Ash Campbell, or Ash's character get you to want to pick up MK11? Because I like you said, like I'm curious about RoboCop, but I'm not like, oh snap, they got RoboCop. Like if
Mhm.
Spawn couldn't get me to pick up the game, RoboCop ain't gonna get me to pick up the game.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, like you said, it's a flip of a coin, so we'll see
Mm-hmm.
what it brings in time. But overall, it means it's very flashy. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to playing as Fuji,
Mm-hmm.
even though we should have got him an X, but I'm just looking forward to it.
Right.
I'm looking forward to see what the full package of this game will be, and to see where they might or might not take it to the future. So that's
Mm-hmm.
all we really could do at this point, because you could already tell that they don't really care about the combat kids anymore.
Which again, I think in closing, I know we've spent a lot of times kind of like this time kind of like criticizing NetherRealm to an extent, but like I think it does go to show how much care they put into the Mortal Kombat franchise. You can tell that every game is shaped around fan feedback, right? Where it's like, who are these kids? We don't like them. Like we like Cassie and we like I'm blanking.
Jackson's daughter.
Yeah, we like
Yeah.
Jackie. And it's like they make MK11. Kung Jin is nowhere to be found. I don't know how Takeda got hit on the cutting room floor. I thought he was pretty well received, but again, I must be off the loop. So that you can kind of see that they definitely take feedback into consideration. And I think part of the reason why we're getting story content is because people were like, yo, the ending of MK11 story was very underwhelming. But it's like there's also that fact of like it doesn't seem like they have, like we were saying, like a general direction that they want to take the franchise in. So you're just like, I appreciate that you guys are very like fan feedback driven, but where is this going? What are we doing? What's happening? You
Mm-hmm.
know? I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
No, well, definitely we'll see. I mean, and also it's pretty pricey too. The Aftermath DLC is pretty pricey, so I really hope it's worth it. Or else, like a lot of people are gonna have a say so. I mean, when you really look at it, all right, 3 stages,
Mhm.
3 characters, and characters are mostly like $5 to $6 a piece.
Mhm.
But I mean, like I said, it's still a lot. It's still a lot, and then the price of MK11 hasn't even gone down yet. So you could tell probably after this, there's going to be like a new edition
Oh,
of
absolutely. Yeah. I think that was part of the leak. Like, I think they have a plan either for this holiday or early next year that they're planning to release, the complete edition or whatever that it might be titled.
which I also feel it will be a PS5 version of that. When you really
Mhm.
look at it, you might as well, especially like to get like some game for like the holidays to get
Yeah.
something out there. So it's the best thing you probably could do.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add, man. Again, like I thought I would have more to say. But I'm like, I don't. I just don't know. I'm interested. I've always found the Mortal Kombat universe to be very interesting, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that NetherRealm Studios still has it in them to be very innovative when it comes to what they've done for fighters. I think they don't get enough credit for revitalizing story mode in a lot of fighting games. They don't get the props for that. But yeah, I'm kind of conflicted. I'm like cautiously optimistic. Like I want to see great things, but at the same time, like they might drop the ball again.
I don't know. We'll definitely shall see. We definitely shall see. So in the meantime, all we can really do is hope for the best and look out for the leaks.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I mean that pretty much wraps up our conversation, at least on camera. Um, Tim, once again, if you want to drop your at first so people can follow you online.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You can follow me at Michael Smith, Mykale Smith.
okay, and that's across Instagram and Twitter and
Yes, Instagram, but on Twitter is 242 Uprising.
okay.
All right.
All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for joining us. Tim, thank you again for joining me for the recorded part of the conversation. And
Mhm.
make sure you guys to like and subscribe to the video if you're watching on YouTube. Take care.